Shinran's critical classification of doctrine. On the basis of Shinran's assertion that the Pure Land teaching represents the fundamental purpose for the Buddha's appearing in the world, and was the true one-vehicle teaching or supreme teaching, he had to formulate his own critical classification of doctrines. He therefore followed the practice of Mahayana Buddhist schools in positioning his teaching in relation to other schools. While he generally accepted the general line of Pure Land analysis delineated in Honen's Senjakushu, as well as the Shinkei or Gonjitsu, distinctions of true and temporary or provisional employed in general Mahayana and Tendai, they did not fully afford him the categories with which to clarify the supremacy of his teaching grounded in absolute other power. The Tendai distinctions compared teachings in terms of their completeness and suddenness. The Pure Land system made distinctions based on the decline of human capacity to fulfill the practices and the theory of Mappo. To make this point, Shinran required a system that singled out the principle of absolute other power, as well as distinguishing self-power Pure Land practice. As a consequence, he developed the system known as 2 pairs and 4 levels. In addition to the emphasis on absolute other power, this theory implied the principle of selection, rejection, or aspect of exclusiveness. On the other hand, he also employed the principles of explicit and implicit, perhaps exoteric surface and esoteric inner, to correlate the Pure Land Sutra's teachings. This approach reflected a more conciliatory and inclusive approach to the various teachings. Each approach aimed to establish his interpretation of the Pure Land teaching as the supreme teaching in Buddhism, while also exhibiting influence from his Tendai background. The terms which Shinran employed in the system of 2 pairs and 4 levels appear in Pure Land sources. However, his arrangements and interpretation derive from his own experience and need to clarify the relation of his teaching to Buddhism generally and alternative Pure Land factions specifically. Shinran's system makes the distinction of transcendence and progression, corresponding to the Mahayana principle of suddenness or gradualness, and from the standpoint of other power, vertical and lengthwise, self-power and horizontal crosswise, absolute other power. Hence, the combination of these terms result in 4 types of teachings, indicating the religious styles of the many sects. Shushutsu, or vertical lengthwise progression, represents the Hinayana tradition of attaining enlightenment through many eons of cultivation and development. Sucho, or vertical transcendence, signifies the self-striving Mahayana sects, such as Tendai, Shingon, and Zen, which offer the way to Buddhahood through many methods of self-cultivation. Oshutsu, or horizontal progression, stands for attaining rebirth in the Pure Land through self-striving Nembutsu. Finally, Ocho, or crosswise transcendence, expresses Shinran's sense of the unconditional embrace of the Buddha, which never abandons, but takes us in completely in an instant, experienced as the moment of joyous trust. Shinran declares, quote, "Transcending crosswise is the true teaching based on the fulfillment of the vow, which embodies the perfectly consummate true reality. This, indeed, is the true essence of the Pure Land way." Close quote. The principle of explicit and implicit understanding isn't strictly a critical classification of doctrine. Rather, it is a method of harmonizing the different tendencies or perspectives on religious practice of the larger Pure Land Sutra, the smaller Pure Land Sutra, and the Meditation Sutra. Each sutra was typified by a particular vow among the 48 vows of Amida Buddha. As we have seen above, the larger sutra preeminently represents the 18th vow, while the smaller sutra epitomizes the 20th vow and the practice of recitation of the name. The Meditation Sutra exemplifies the 19th vow and practices of morality and meditation. According to Shinran, the larger sutra clearly teaches the principle of absolute other power. However, The smaller sutra and meditation sutra promote self-power practices exteriorly in their manifest teaching. However, from the standpoint of trust or Shinjin, they all teach the primal vow of absolute other power. Though focused on Pure Land teaching, Shinran's perspective on the sutras hints at a mode of classification which reflects the exoteric-esoteric outlook of Tendai and its Shingon component.